Hey, habit thrivers. If you're ready to rock your next chapter, this is your place. It's time to live your most fit, fearless, and fabulous life. I believe that our daily habits and routines set the foundation for achieving our dream lives and help us find more passion and clarity with less doubt and uncertainty. So let's get cozy. Grab your planner and your favorite beverage and come along with me on this journey of reclaiming your passions and finding new ones along the way. Welcome to the Habit Thrive podcast, a podcast for women in their me now years. Hi, I'm Laura, your host, and each week we come together to create habits, routines, and rituals to reclaim our power and our awesomeness to live our best chapters yet. And today we are reclaiming. We're reclaiming December. We're potentially reclaiming lots of joy in December. And so if you're with me, we're going to get going on that in a moment. So grab your journal if you like to keep notes or a piece of paper as we go through today 3 steps to reclaim our joy in the month of December. Now, before we do that, I do want to give a shout out to actually the months of October and November, where we dug in to sleep. And I have to say that I have received more than one email, text, or message, a few actually, around the benefits of trying some of the techniques that I spoke about in the months of October and November in terms of letting go to sleep and getting back to sleep if you wake up in the night. Also, and this is huge, and this actually came from an interview with Matthew Hassett, founder of Lofty Alarm Clocks. So we had a fantastic interview, and he is absolutely passionate. In fact, it is like a global issue for him to get cell phones, our devices, out of the bedrooms, to stop using them as alarm clocks and get a better night's sleep. And so I've heard from some of you that you've been playing with this. You have been playing with not having your devices in the bedroom and not using them as alarm clocks. And it is making a difference. So if you could see me right now, I am doing a happy dance. Like, it's huge. It's interesting because I haven't had my device unless I'm traveling sometimes, but I don't have my phone in the bedroom and I don't use it as an alarm clock. So I thought, I had no idea how many people that this one idea could help until I actually had this interview with Matt Hassett. So if you haven't had a chance to listen to the interview, again, I had so much fun doing it, but there's a whole bunch of tips about sleep, about how we speak to ourselves, when we are letting go to sleep, when we wake up in the night, if we do wake up in the night, and how we speak to ourselves when our eyes open the next day. So lots of stuff to play with as you move into the month of December. And again, regardless of when you're listening to this episode, the information goes across months, it goes across seasons. But I will say again that October and November, 2 of the most challenging months for sleep. And then as we're moving into December now, it can be challenging as well. There are lots of changes to our habits and routines and lots of emotions circulating around. So I'm going to come back to the basic recommendation around sleep, and that is to do a nice, long, extended exhalation. Inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth. 3 breaths, making that exhalation longer, morning, afternoon, and evening, in the middle of a social event, whenever you can, and just notice. Notice how you feel. Notice the change in your mood. Notice the change in your relaxation. And so as we move into the month of December, yes, carry these techniques forward for sure. And they will come up. Again, we have 4 episodes in December. And for this episode today, I'm laying the groundwork again with 3 steps for reclaiming our joy in the month of December. And then we'll build on this as we move through the next few weekends. So let's begin with step 1. I'd like you to think back or visualize. And you can write even. And I always recommend writing, drawing, experiences, memories, rituals, habits, events that you can think back to. Could be in the last couple of years, could be when, let's say, your kids were younger, maybe when you were younger, maybe when you were a kid, maybe when you were a teenager. All of these different, let's say, phases of our lives where we have actually different habits, routines, rituals, events, depending on so many things. And so when you ask yourself, what is a ritual? What is something that I used to do that I'd like to do again? And it could be anything from building snowmen to skating or tobogganing. Being careful with that now, though, wear a helmet. Let's see, other activities of sleigh rides and thinking to, let's say, even foods that you used to prepare, appetizers or holiday brunches, or even your baking. And I know we've moved away from baking. In fact, I've done episodes where I've suggested to let some of this stuff go to be less stressful, but it's so individual. It is so individual. For some people, baking and cooking and Christmas cards and gift wrapping is like, it's too much. And for others, that's my joy. That's my jam, and that's my joy. And so it's important for us, I think it's important anyways, important for me as I think about it, to know why I have let some things go and to think back about some of the things that perhaps maybe I do want to add back in. Maybe it got crazy busy in the kid years where it was just too much to do everything. And so I let some things go at that time to do more activities with the kids. And so you think back. And again, I'm going to suggest thinking way back to being outside. And I am going to say, I'm thinking we were outside more. For those of you in your me now years, you're with me age-wise. We were outside lots, and I know that I missed that. And so what were some of the rituals? What were some of the Santa rituals? Or you can bring it around food, you can bring it around activity and sleepovers, and when did you go to bed, and when did you get up, and what did you do with stockings? What did you do perhaps on the day after the holidays or between? And you start to make a list, and you can dig kind of deep and just brainstorm. It could be that you used to go to church and you're like, I think I'd like to go back to church over the holidays or sing in a choir. Now, it might be a little bit late now as we're into December, but again, you can start to make this list and it can go forward into December 2025. It's all about the process. So you think about the people, you think about the activities, you think about the food, the rituals, you think about how they made you feel, the joy, the happiness, maybe the relaxation, right? Maybe you're thinking, I think I'd like to stay in my pajamas all of the holidays. Or perhaps if I'm speaking specifically to Christmas, like Christmas Day and Boxing Day. I'm not going to rush all over the place this year. So you think about what will bring you joy? What did bring you joy? What can you reclaim? Because again, even if it doesn't happen this year, once you put it out there in the universe, you've heard me say this before, right? It is out there. And things line up for that to happen. And if it doesn't happen this year, there is a good chance that it's going to happen next year. And as you start to think about it, things will pop into your head, right? So have your notes in your phone or in your journal, have that piece of paper, have those sticky notes wherever, and just keep jotting these down, because the floodgates will open in a very positive way around reminding us as we move into this December, reclaiming a December full of joy, right? Those ideas, those memories, those little nudges will keep coming. So that's step number one. Step number two then is to keep track, to perhaps pick one or two, because well, you're like me, right? We're like, I'm in this big or I'm not in this at all. And so I'm going to do everything that I just wrote down. But I'm going to suggest that we take a breath, and there might be one or two things that are really standing out for you around baking cookies or a sleigh ride or pajamas for all of Christmas Day, which you might already do, and great job if you are doing that. But keep building that list. And then the second step is to choose one or two things out of that list that you would like to put into play. It could be actually this weekend. You could be listening to this, right, on Saturday morning. And then tomorrow is December the 1st, and you're like, I am going to put this into play. And even the things that we let go of, because at one point, I'm going to say we kind of swung the other way to say, minimize our decorating, minimize our baking, minimize, and for sure our gift buying, right? I get that. But then all of a sudden, we kind of minimized a lot and everything just kind of went out the door. And so I'm suggesting that we just contemplate that and think about that and think, is there anything that can come back? So that's step two. Step three is there still those stuff that you can let go, or things that you can shift, or people that you can ask to support you with the things that you're doing to make room for this joy for you? And yes, I'm saying you in December. And it doesn't mean that if we are reclaiming our joy in December, that we're taking our joy away from anybody else. And this is, again, what we tend to do as women, right? We're like, everybody else has to be super happy and super comfortable and super full, right? And super everything. And then we're like, okay, now I can relax. Now I can claim some of this joy. I'm going to be wild and crazy in our me now years and say, what if we thought about ourselves for this December and thought that if we add more joy and start to bring back some of the things that we want to do, or still shift some things that we might want to let go of, that if we feel more rested, if we feel more nurtured, right? If we feel more joy, saying always is that, right? If women, if mom, if however, however you want to describe the situation, if we are happier, then people around us are happier. And isn't it better for us to be happier and feel joy and have everyone else around us feeling that than everyone else feeling joy because we created or tried to create joy for them, but it was at the expense of our joy? Like, it's heavy stuff. It's so curious though. And it's just been something that I've been contemplating, and I'm so excited again to have this conversation with you. And so, what can you shift? Who can you ask to help with gift wrapping or meal preparation, or even help with the joy of planning a sleigh ride or a family event, or not doing something because you want to have some time to read the magazines that are in your stocking, right? And have your latte. So what do you want to shift? Who do you want to ask to help? What do you want to let go? So that's step three. So step one, to visualize, to remember, to think back, anything that brings up this feeling of joy and happiness. Start to write it down, write them down. Notice step two, one or two that you might want to put into place this December 2024. And then step 3 is to think about what needs to shift. What might you still let go of to make room for this joy? It's time, ladies. And so let's take a collective breath together, feeling that energy as you exhale. Again, a nice long exhale. Feeling grounded, feeling supported, feeling connected. And as always, I so love hearing from you through messages, through email, through discussions on the street, so that you can let me know how we're doing reclaiming our December. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you next week. And yes, happy Thanksgiving to my American listeners. I think I said that last week, but it's all good. You get a week of greetings for Thanksgiving. So have a wonderful weekend, and I'll talk to you again next week.
If you love this episode, I guarantee you're going to love exploring all the amazing opportunities that await us in reclaiming our awesomeness together. So come on over to my Facebook group, Women's Wellness Community for women wanting to rock their Me Now years. Or let's connect over on Instagram at Habit Guru 365 and make the Habit Guru podcast your healthy new habit.